For the first time in nearly 20 years, the Department of Justice has updated its use of force policy. The new policy, outlined by Attorney General Merrick Garland on Friday, instructs federal law enforcement to intervene if they see officers using excessive force. Officers must also be ready and willing to act when someone needs medical care. This update to our federal policing comes after years of protest and just days before we mark 2 years since the murder of George Floyd. And here to discuss is Basil Smikle. He's a distinguished lecturer and director of the Public Policy Program at Hunter College. So what do you think is the significance of this new policy change? It's been a long time. There have been a lot of protests since the last time they changed this.
That's exactly right. And, you know, as even though we could say that it has been a long time, and it really has, I'm glad to see some movement. You know, there is a concern that all these attempts to nationalize policy and procedure have fallen on deaf ears. We saw that after George Floyd, when the House passed legislation to try to curb police brutality, and that did not go anywhere. So I'm glad that there are new guidelines that are being presented. I want to say better late than never. I hate to have to say that because these are people's lives that are affected. But the fact of the matter is, it needs to happen. Look, there are over 18,000 law enforcement agencies in the country, and any opportunity to nationalize policy and procedure is an important, a very, very important step, because trying to do it piecemeal is prohibitive and daunting, to say the least.
You're right. So this is on the federal level. This is the Justice Department directing federal law enforcement. This doesn't apply to state and localities. And as you mentioned, 18,000 separate law enforcement agencies in America. I mean, if you think about it, that's like local sheriffs and all of the different iterations. So do you think that a policy like this one on the federal level could trickle down to those local law enforcement agencies, at least in terms of somebody writing down somewhere that if you see your fellow officers killing someone, you should tell them to stop and intervene?
Yeah, you know, this is an incredibly important point, because on the one hand, it will take state action and local sort of city, municipal, county action to have this trickle down. And that's why elections matter. State legislative elections, which are notoriously low turnout, really matter, because that is where you elect sheriffs, county executives, and the like. And so, yeah, I do see that there is going to be momentum for this to trickle down, whether it's in democratic states and localities first, fine, but it needs to happen. And this other point about officers reporting what they see, this is a really, really important issue, because we saw it in George Floyd, we saw it in the case of Eric Garner, where officers were just sort of standing around and watched that death unfold. It is one of the most tragic aspects of those incidents that, you know, you people who were there to defend life were essentially watching people die. And you know, one of the things that we study is that, you know, there is substantial peer pressure and culture within these departments to not you know, sort of curb the behavior of your fellow officer. There was an incident, I think it was in Florida, where a female officer was trying to stop her partner from going too hard on a suspect, and the officer turned around and choked her. And so we realized that these are really substantial changes that, if they can trickle down at the local agencies, has an impact on lives. It has an impact on peer pressure and culture within departments, which is that thing that we haven't been able to shift.
Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.